All right, so hopefully that makes a decent enough screenshot. Got this delaminating mirror here. It's a little worse at the top. Just gonna dress the pig up a little bit. Got some of this vinyl decal stuff off of, it's like a wood grain, kind of dark walnut black or something like that, off of Amazon. Pretty cheap. 2 mirrors this size in one roll. I think it was like 10 bucks. Super easy, y'all, except for accurate measuring. Use some Windex, ammonia-free Windex, or any kind of like ammonia-free glass cleaner. I think this one's from Sam's or Costco, spray away. You got your vinyl decal sticker, some kind of straight edge that gives you a good 90-degree angle cut. You want to have a very sharp razor blade. This is not a good example, but I'll be using it for something else. Tape measure, some painter's tape, or really any kind of minimally sticky tape. A couple super clean microfiber rags. First of all, clean off your mirror very well. You just want to get debris off there. You definitely don't want any kind of lumpy chunks underneath here that are going to make bulges in the final product. For me, I need to, nah, I can work around this, I guess. I was going to remove this thing, get this out of the way. I did that on the last one, but this will be fine. What I want to do is run a razor blade, basically a very clean, sharp one, not this one, around the outside. You can kind of, you'll hear it picking little paint flecks and little debris, and make sure you go around the entire edge. You don't need to worry about curving it around the bevel here at all. You just want to make sure the absolute flat surface is super clean, and then wash it one more time. Like stuff like this down here, you got this paint down the corner. So you got to get that off of there. Keep the razor blade flat. You just keep going back and forth, and then if you want, go a little bit around the corner to get the little fibers off of there. Loosen them up and finish her off. All right, go around the whole mirror. Make sure you go all the way into 4 inches where your border is going to be, or a little bit more. All right, one little point of order. My my glass, or my mirror, is held down by some silicone down on that bottom lip. So I just took that razor blade and went down to that edge, and I'm going to start my horizontal just a little hair above that, basically, to so it's not riding on that. So that's actually going to be my first cut, left to right, and whatever that actual measurement is, we're going to add, for this one, I'm going to probably add 3/4 of an inch, almost 3/4 of an inch, because what I have is an opportunity to wrap it around a corner and tuck that backside in over there, and the same thing over on this side, and that'll give a really nice clean finish to that piece. So I'll add 3/4 of an inch, and I'll share that half on this side, half on this side. Maybe a little less, 3/4 inch. You really need about, anyway, we'll figure it out. So take your true measurement, wash this glass off one more time with a good window cleaner and another clean rag. All right, so our left to right true measurement is right at 28 inches, so we'll go 28 3/4 on my cut. Make sure you got good square edges on your cut using some kind of straight edge. I decided to change my mind a little bit, so I went 28 1/2. I'm gonna go right up to the edge when I mount this right here, and I'll leave about 1/2 of an inch here to curl it around, because I can tuck that in back in there when I'm done. I might have to cut out the bottom corner because of that silicone down in there of the wrapped portion, or just cut it off shear, but it's very easy to do this after. All right, so now the secret sauce. So get an edge started on here, just tear back a little bit of that, the paper to reveal the sticker, something like that, just so you can get a grip. Now spray that bottom entire edge, the width of this, and then some. Just spray that whole bottom edge with some of your Windex and or ammonia-free glass cleaner. What this is going to do, it's going to leave a evaporating evaporative film that now nothing is going to stick to until that dries, and it will dry because all window cleaner dries. Now tear off the entirety of this sticker. You can even spray this very lightly. Show you what I'm talking about. So I got that started by peeling away. Now, little spritz. What this is going to do is going to keep this from sticking to anything until the actual water portion evaporates in that. So now we can just put it on there, and we'll be able to move this thing around as much as we want. And there you go. So you can see I put it way too high, carried over the slop on that end. What this does by using this window cleaner, it allows you to just slide this sucker around as much as you want until that stuff evaporates, and you get a lot of working time the wetter you make this. I am unaware of any maximum amount of liquid because we're going to squeegee out a lot of this right before we let it sit and go on to our next piece. So right now I'm just trying to seat this thing as square as I can, but above that silicone bead down there. So let me go get a straight edge here. Sorry, what I meant to say is a squeegee. So I'm gonna eventually squeegee that out, squeegee it that way. There's almost no bubbles in when you use this Windex technique, but I want to leave that one wet for now because I don't know if I have it perfectly straight, if I have it ever so slightly kicked back. So now I want to do one of these sides. So I'll do this easy side here. Let me measure from down there to up there, cut my piece, keep this nice and moist. I'll be able to slide this around for quite a while. All right, as you can see, I cut that edge jagged as hell, but this edge is flat. That's gonna be our bottom edge there. This will be at our top. That's wrapped around. Let me Windex all this stuff up here and the sticker. There you go. And again, the beauty is that this thing can't even stick to itself, let alone your fingers. So you probably don't want to wear any rubber gloves because if there is a sticky spot, that glove is just gonna stick to it and it's gonna be impossible to get off of there. So again, this is our bottom with our straight edge. Let's match that up to here. I just quickly slapped it up in there. We got tons of time. I did run my finger down here just to kind of create a no bubble zone down the middle a little bit to start. And this would be almost impossible for me to do on camera since I don't have my camera stand or cell phone cam stand. But let's see. I want to just basically match this edge up here, if you can see that, and make sure that it follows this vertical line here. And if so, then I know I have this bottom relatively straight. That's all I'm trying to work out right now is this bottom seam, basically, to make sure it's a good clean seam. So I'm going to work the bubbles out using this thing just kind of this way and then this way and squeegee that out, and I'll dry that area off with a towel. I don't know if I'll be able to set this cell phone up a little bit here, prop it into position. Maybe that'll show you enough to matter anyway, you know. All right, so this one's gonna slide around on me when I do this probably, so I'll figure that out in a second. I want to squeegee some of this Windex out of this lower one so it stops sliding so easily. So first things first, let's just drag that across and get some of the good stuff out. And when I did that, it almost immediately started sticking a little bit in some spots, but you should be able to still free it up and move it into position. Let's run our hand along here just to get the middle bubble out as it sets up. Make sure you have your carryover for the left side. I kind of screwed that up. Let me slide it over. And let's find out where level is. Put this vertical one into position on the top and the bottom edges. That is at the edge of the glass there. Probably can't see this, but basically I'm just following it all the way up the outside left edge of this mirror to make sure that I'm not hanging over the edge, because that'll create a weird kind of a lip when this thing sets up. But tons of time to mess around with it today. I think that is painfully close to vertical, and that looks really good at this joint down here. So what I want to do is carefully blot. I don't want to move much, but I want to get that area dry where those two intersect. And the reason is because I want to take a couple pieces of painter's tape and formalize that seam. Let's wrap this tape over so we can remove it real easy when this is dry later on, much later on. Right, so that seam is basically locked together now right there. another tag. Now, no matter what I do, these two should travel together fairly well. Okay, saw that. So now we can move everything just a little bit together until we get a perfect joint. All right, now I know I can take this piece and I can get rid of some of that juice by squeegeeing it out. This is how they put window tint on as well. If you're not familiar, you can even use your towel. All right, this is giving me a big bubble. I don't know if you can see that, so I need to address that. I think I'm hitting my caulk on the bottom possibly. So push on this end to pull that bubble out, and that should raise it up just a hair. Let's work out this. I might need to raise this whole damn thing up, like raise this one up to get this thing to even out. I think I'm just riding that caulk line too much in the bottom. Riding the caulk. All right, I like that. And you can always tape here too to keep it in place once you find level. Tape it from the vinyl to the mirror. That's probably what I'll do to establish this 90-degree corner here, or 90-degree edge. Let's see. It does appear that I don't have any bubbles, which that Windex really squeegees out it gets rid of the bubbles pretty quick on its own. All right, my edge here has slightly come off the mirror, so I'm going to pull it left just a hair. And now that moved the vertical, so squeegee that. And I'm going to adjust up top. So I'm just trying to pull the bubbles out of it. Big squeegee. Get rid of some of that moisture in there to make this a little bit easier. Okay. It's starting to stick a little bit better because I'm getting rid of a lot of that excess of moisture that's in here. As you squeegee, it'll allow you to use your rag very carefully. You don't want to pull everything out of whack. Let's see. I feel like I'm coming out of 90 degrees pretty hard here. Don't feel like this is. I feel like there's just a slight bow, if you will, because my glass, I've got a lip right here starting to form in the middle, but not at the top and not at the bottom. So I'm going to just keep on moving this vertical over until I have a good sheer edge here. Chase the bubbles out. I think Bob's your uncle. Couple air bubbles and burping some Windex. Light touch. Check our bottom here again. Check along the edge. Feel along this. I'm basically running my finger to make sure that the mirror and the decal are right at the finite lip so there's no overhang. And this overhang is good. We're going to tuck that in behind there later with an edging tool. But right now we have established a 90-degree angle here. So now we can proceed on a little bit easier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this side here off camera. And then I'm going to finish up. I'm just going to take the measurement between the two and slap that one in last, that top horizontal there last on video. All right, so we've established the U shape. Tape across that seam. Also, doing that tape on there lets you kind of feel a lot better. It's hard to see some of these darker color trim strips, so it lets you feel that you don't have any kind of an overlap when you run your finger along that seam. So now we're going to measure this last piece, of course, and you'll measure at the very top and then about 4 inches down just to make sure that there's no kind of a slope going on here because of the way that you've oriented everything. Final measurement is 20 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to cut it like a 32nd less than that, 20 1/16. All right, last piece, put it up there, make sure it looks good as far as size before you remove the back side of the sticker, and that are soaked. Let me throw it up there. All right, so once we put it up in there, we can move it around as much as we want very, very easily. So let's get it adjusted right in its gap, and then I'll start, basically I'll hold it in place. I'll start squeegeeing the ends out to give it a little more stickum. You can see it's just kind of falling as we... All right, I basically have found where I want to be. I've done one run with the squeeze just to push out a lot of that liquid behind to stop it from falling. There's a little bubble. I'm going to address that. What I want to do is get this edge perfect because this is like in the kind of in the middle room. This is hard to see at this angle, so I can, you know, screw that up, end up a little bit if I need to. I want to dry this area off and put a piece of vertical tape. All right, so I've felt for the top up here, so I know that I'm even with it. I'm not overhanging. And then I made sure that my vertical seam is good. And now I'm going to squeegee this way and kind of manipulate this. You see it's a little bit low. Well, there's bubbles in this and stuff, so we're going to work that out. All right, and there we go. Just in case that side decides to sag, and just in case that side decides to sag, make sure I said that in English, I'm going to put a piece of tape there. And there we go, just that little piece of loose tape ensures the seam cannot travel back and forth. We got a nice flat profile to everything. No bubbles anywhere. That using that window cleaner really helps to chase those bubbles out. I mean, hands down the best way to do this. That seam is just a little bit of a seam there, you can see. So I could have done better on that, but you know, it's good enough. So hopefully that shows you a technique that you can use. It's going to take you probably a half hour to do each mirror, especially the first time. You can probably get it done in about 15-20 minutes on the second mirror. It's just not hard, just kind of hard to take a video and do all this stuff. Hope that helps. Like, subscribe, or don't.